she can make it. All right, let's do this. My man. Welcome to the War Report, brought to you by TagMeAdate.com, the first and only dating site exclusively for fans of professional wrestling. With a roster of over 70,000 superstars and divas, you too can find your tag team match at TagMeAdate.com. It's absolutely free to sign up, free to send messages, free to post updates, free to post GIFs, free to send emojis, free to find your tag team match on TagMeAdate.com. Android and iPhone apps forthcoming very soon. So welcome to the show. We do this every Tuesday at 7 p.m. The War Report, brought to you by TagMeAdate.com. And I guess we got a lot of stuff to talk about this week. What with Saudi Arabia?
Hell in the Cell.
So much. Well, the Hell in the Cell thing. Yeah, so Hell in the Cell directly relates to Saudi Arabia because of the end of the night, and then Monday night happened, which further indicated that our money is no longer good here. You need to have a turban and a camel in order to make any creative decisions within WWE nowadays.
Yep.
They literally called the show Crown Jewel. It was a table full of white people going on Wikipedia, looking up things about Saudi Arabia. And one of them found Crown Jewel. They're like, it's brilliant. So I'll send it around the.
I thought it was more ironic because it's all men.
Yeah, and they're having not only are they having that triple threat match, they're having like a World Cup. Which,
for the determine the best in the world.
I hate to break it to you, but
Punk is
really the World Cup. Unless they're inviting Kenny Omega and Okada and Will Ospreay and is Peter Dune going to be there? I want to see how they represent, because if there was a good enough Saudi Arabian wrestler, he'd just win. Like, they just give him this fictional trophy. Like Braun won that tiny little green belt that was never seen again.
It was the full WWE belt.
Yeah, but it was green. It just had the green Saudi Arabian belt.
It was the Iranian green, the flag.
Flag's color. But so I don't know how they're trying to work that. But anyway, we'll get to the Crown Jewel in a second with their tournament and their now triple threat match for the world title. Well, not world title, universal title. Roman, Strowman, and Brock. But we'll start at the beginning. The beginning is a very good place to start. What song is that? It was like an old-timey Disney song or something.
From Sound of Music.
Oh, it's from Sound of Music. Yeah.
Doe a Deer.
Yes. So the dough for this week is Hell in a Cell, which I'm going to sound like a broken record if you go back and listen to any edition of this podcast that happens after a pay-per-view. The pay-per-view was great for like 3 hours. Then they fucked it all up. And I don't know how. They had the gun there, and they were aiming it. They were looking down, and then they just turned it around and blam, shot themselves in the face with it.
What's amazing to me is the main event was going to go down, in my opinion, as one of the better Hell in a Cell matches.
Could have been.
Because it was total chaos. You had a lot going on, which I liked. It was all over the place, which I liked, because that's what Hell in the Cell should be. The spot with Ziggler and Rollins, great. Whatever the fuck happened to Ambrose and McIntyre.
They're still standing on the cell to this day.
But the short of it for me is you have a guy like Mick Foley who launched himself off the top of a cell, popped his own shoulder back in, had a tooth knocked up through his lip, went back up, and then got chokeslammed down through the cell into the ring. and still continued the match.
And then got chokeslammed on thumbtacks.
And then got chokeslammed on, and still continued to finish the match. And now you fast forward to 2018, and each guy gets one F5 and apparently can't continue, and we're just going to call this a no contest. What the fuck? You just absolutely ruined the finish of that match. I had no problem with Brock coming down. I think Brock coming down was great. He looks great, definitely in UFC shape. I like the beard. He kicks in the fucking door off the hinges. I love it.
And then he climbs up the door. I love that part.
You know, I love everything about it. And then that's it. Like you start, you let them get up and finish the fucking match. I don't know.
Or
Braun took a nap for fucking 15 minutes.
That's the thing that gets me is they stayed down for that big spot for the Shield,
so another match could happen around and on top of the cell.
and Roman Reigns has kicked out of 5 F5s in a single match before. So why does one F5 suddenly doing it?
It was a
Vince,
super
he
five.
just went through an entire match and got beat with part of a table. So
Yeah. And here's the other thing.
That was a cool part too. Taking a piece of the table and hitting it with it.
it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was great.
Brock didn't give a shit. He was picking up something and hitting somebody with it.
Oh yeah.
But they already had it. Brock hit Strowman with it, and then he hit Roman with the F5, and Roman was on top of Braun. All they needed to do was have a referee slide in and make the 3 count, and the match ended. There's only ever been one Hell in a Cell match that ended with a no contest, and it was Mick Foley against Kane on Monday Night Raw, and it stopped for a no contest because Stone Cold and The Undertaker came in and interfered and started a whole schmaz.
And even
that's
if
free TV. That's free TV. We pay for this. This is a pay-per-view. Give us even if it's a shitty finish, give us a finish. Which
even if Braun was going to lose, it's okay. It would still would have protected him enough because it was from Lesnar and all that, you know.
Right, and he still could have.
It looked like the F5 Reigns onto Braun.
He did, and that should have just been the finish. Like if you're, then Braun at least has a case for he got screwed out of his Money in the Bank, and
it still sets up
the triple threat match.
Yeah.
It didn't do any favors for Braun, and it really didn't do any favors for Roman, because if you look at this, he's the top guy. He didn't take any of the big bumps. He didn't do any of the shit on the cage. He didn't even touch the cage. He didn't climb the cage. He didn't get to the top of the cage. And then he lays down at the end of the match and lets the referee call it a no contest. You're fighting champion.
It was almost like they were protecting him for some reason. You know what I mean?
Oh, gee.
Where would you get that idea?
I mean, it just, for me.
Still my heart, Steve. Oh,
you know what, though? But here's how I have to look at it. A lot of people are saying, well, that single-handedly ruined the pay-per-view. And when you put it all together, listen, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe was great, and I loved the finish of the match. I thought the finish was perfect, in my opinion. There was some back and forth. Well, right. It's a perfect way to continue it because the ref didn't see listen, when I was watching it, I didn't see the tap until the slow motion.
Yeah,
so,
I didn't either.
So it was great to see, like, all right, listen, Joe really should be champion. So it sets that up to continue, and they're doing a great job. The match was great. Orton, Jeff Hardy was
my God,
was awesome.
And honestly, I'll be fair. I was not necessarily looking forward to that match being in a Hell in a Cell because I thought maybe Becky and Charlotte should be in the cell. Maybe Joe and AJ should be in the cell.
Which you're not wrong.
Right. They could.
But they
definitely
made
could
up for it with that match.
Oh yeah, and the screwdriver spot was worth the. I mean that almost takes out the shitty match at the end of the night when you remember how Randy Orton almost popped Jeff Hardy's ear. I thought he was going to do it. I really thought they were just going to do it. And then
that's
Jeff
why I
would
looked
just
away.
get it
I
sewn
had
up.
to look away. I couldn't handle it.
You and a lot of other people.
Lance Storm tweeted that it would have been even better if he somehow got handcuffs and handcuffed his fucking earlobe to the ropes or something.
Yeah, or put a padlock in it.
Oh my God, that would have been fucking great. Could you imagine? Oh man, but that was a great match.
And then that's not at the end.
And listen, and here's the thing for me, the biggest surprise of the night, especially from what I had said on the show about her performance on Monday Night Raw, it was like night and day because Ronda Rousey stole the show. Ronda Rousey sold. Ronda Rousey went 10 or 12 minutes.
Yep.
Ronda
the slam,
a gun wrench power bomb.
the fucking finisher. She like added an extra twist to it at the end, like she did a jump or something. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, I mean, she really. I mean, what a world of difference! It was so great. That match for me was match of the night, and I didn't think I was going to say that.
I would rather have her not wrestle on Mondays. Come out, interact with people, cut promos, but I would like her to be an old school champion, like back in the 80s.
Where you had to pay to see the champion.
Right, because she is, as far as I'm concerned, I can tell, we'll tell as time goes on, but to me, she seems like a big match mentality person, where she's going to go, this is Monday night, we do this 52 weeks a year, I'll just go, smile, wave, we'll do a couple little spots, and we'll go home. When Sunday rolls around, and there's a big pay-per-view, it just clicks. She gets it, she's locked in, she's ready to go, because that's the way she was trained. She was... For the UFC, you built up. There was no Monday Night Raw for the UFC. There was just, you've got a date to wrestle or fight, and that's your date. So I feel like she sees that as like the end zone. She sees the pay-per-view as like, I can do, we'll hype the fight, whatever, on Mondays, but she gets locked in for that big match on Sunday and really comes through. So I would really, it would be better if she didn't wrestle. It's less... Like, I don't care if she's in a tag team match with Alicia or Natty or whoever the fuck else. I don't care. This is going to be interesting with the Riot Squad to see how they're going to do this,
right?
And where that go. Maybe they probably haven't changed direction from the Nikki Bella thing, because as I was watching that segment last night on Raw, Ronda's out there in the ring, open challenge, which is pretty cool. They hit Natty's music. The Riot Squad drags out Natty because they jumped her from behind. Riot Squad gets in the ring, tries to beat up Ronda. Ronda gets the advantage a little bit. Then it's 3-on-1. And just as I'm typing, the Bella Twins better not run out and save Ronda Rousey. And as I'm hitting send, you can look, but you can't touch. The only thing that would have been worse is if it was Bree mode.
Yeah.
But
awful.
The first ever and only woman to hold a UFC championship and the WWE Women's Championship, silver medal in judo in the Olympics, world-class athlete, gets rescued from a beatdown by the Bella Twins.
Yeah. What? How does that make sense?
I understand they're hyping this match, but I just the only thing that makes sense is that they're playing it like Ronda is a fighter trying to make the transition, just like Kurt Angle when he first started out. They mentioned, he's still trying to figure out this, the transition from amateur wrestling to pro wrestling. She's figuring out the MMA to pro wrestling side, worrying about somebody jumping you from behind using a chair or a kendo, using illegal objects or illegal tactics. That doesn't happen in the UFC the way it happens in pro wrestling. So if they sell it that way, that's great. But I also, why do the Bellas have to save Ronda? Why couldn't Ronda save the Bellas? Ronda eats more calories in a day than are in an entire Bella body. Like, she doesn't need saving by them. All right, so if you guys haven't caught on, I'm very sick, and I sound like death, but pushing through. Anything else from the pay-per-view? Since we keep skipping around back, here's the thing: the pay-per-views now work so seamlessly into Raw,
right?
Because they're just a continue. It's not like it was back in the day where
the pay-per-view was the end, and everything's fresh and new on Monday.
Right. Time is a flat circle.
You know what I liked? There were less matches, and they were given time.
Yes, less matches, longer matches.
So let me ask you guys this. How did we feel about Daniel Bryan and Brie and Maurice and Miz?
I think they'd be good.
Fine.
I actually was pretty entertained by the match. I mean, the end was a bit sloppy, I think.
I could watch that ending 1,000 times and not get bored. Bree mode, and then she gets fucking rolled up.
Yeah.
Like,
I love Miz and Maurice's matching attire. Loved it.
I love Daniel Bryan Bree's matching attire more.
Yeah.
Seattle Seahawks stuff, yeah. But I mean, the big glasses, it's so over the top and ridiculous with the Miz and Maurice.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Oh,
And
it's so Hollywood, you know.
And it's great
It's
to
in
think.
Hollywood. It looks
At
kind
least
of.
he doesn't dress like my puppy anymore.
This kid came in from the real world, and
And
everybody
obnoxious.
hated him.
Created the Miz on the real world with a fucking Toys R Us plastic championship belt.
Thinking
And
he's The
then-
Rock or something. Yeah.
And
He had to
then
dress in the
actually-
locker room.
Yeah,
Like
Jay.
in the
Well,
hallway
no,
of the locker room of the
I
hallway.
think in the bathroom because
Yeah,
JBL wouldn't let him
they
in the
kicked
locker
him out of
room.
locker room. Yeah. And now look at him.
How far he's come. It's amazing. Because he worked hard, he persevered, and got through it all.
He fucking won Eric over. Nobody ever thought that would happen.
Yeah. That's saying something. Because I was a huge hardcore Miz hater.
He really was.
He came in, and part of that credit has to go to John Morrison
Yeah.
because those guys getting
Oh, yeah.
together to do that
But
stuff on
the
ECW
switch
really
for me
helped.
was that talking smack. That was the switch.
Oh,
Hey,
where
listen,
he yelled
did
at Daniel
Morris-
Bryan? Yeah.
Did Morrison leave on bad terms? Like, why has Morrison never come back?
I
Or is it just a preference?
I think he just,
I think it's a preference.
yeah, it might just be a preference for
He's
him.
been doing real great in Lucha Underground.
He's wrestling on Lucha Underground. He's wrestling on Impact. He's going all, so the good
And he's
thing
doing,
now-
and he does a lot of indie shows too.
yeah, and the funny thing is, every time he goes to an indie, he just changes his last name.
Yeah, he's Johnny
So-
something.
Johnny Impact, Johnny Mundo, you know,
Oh.
Johnny, whatever the promotion's name is, he puts something in at the end. So I give him credit for wanting to do that. Like he wrote, in the meantime, he wrote and starred in a movie. I've heard it wasn't very good, but I mean, he did it. You don't just get up one day and wake up and like, I'm going to write a movie and film it. Like
Yeah,
that
I
takes
haven't
work.
wrote a movie yet.
Yeah, I know. It's
I mean, I don't know if you saw his and Taya's wedding on Lucha. It was
no, I did not
awesome.
see that.
In fact, the proposal was even better because he did it in the Macho Man voice, like
That's
she did,
fantastic.
like he did to Elizabeth. It was
Did
hysterical.
she say, "Ooh, yeah"?
No, she was just like crying, saying yes, like a mess.
That's pretty great. But yeah, I don't think he ever left on bad terms necessarily.
I mean, hell, Cody left on good terms.
Yeah, I mean, think about Bobby Lashley. We figured we'd never see Bobby Lashley in the WWE again. Took 10 years, so never say never.
That was the whole Crystal Marshall stuff with the.
Yeah, that was there. And then didn't he? Did he have a fight? He didn't have a fight with somebody backstage, did he? I don't think he did. That was,
Nah,
Booker,
that was-
Booker and Batista.
That was-
Somebody in Batista.
There you go.
Yeah.
I just figured by now Morrison would have returned. Like
I
he
know.
was one guy that when I read that he was wished the best in his future endeavors, I was like, all right, this is a guy that'll be back. You know what I mean? And because I've always been a huge fan of Morrison. So I just figured by now, but I know he's done really well on the indies and in Impact and Lucha. I know all that. But it's been a long time. I mean, it's
It has.
a really long time.
Yeah,
So
he's a guy that could jump right into the main event right now, and no one would bat an eye.
100,000%. You definitely bring him back, and you don't put him in fucking NXT. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a hell of a thing. What if
It
he?
would be actually, but
What if he goes? He comes back. You know me as John Morrison. Blah blah blah. The Friday Night Delight or whatever it is, and then he goes, "I've decided to cut weight and go to 205 Live."
Oh God!
dude, if there was, well, listen, you say, "Oh God," but the truth of the matter is, if there was a way to draw people to the show,
That's what I'm saying.
that would be it.
Yeah,
And what about him? I think of all the matches he could put on with those cruiserweight guys.
absolutely. I just think
Uh,
205 is like obscurity at this point.
It is. I mean,
It is, but that's something that would draw people to it. I mean, not for nothing. I don't think I've ever watched
Rey
an
Mysterio do the same thing there.
I don't think I've ever watched one episode of 205 Live, But if I heard that
Mysterio
John
would be a good
Morrison was coming back and going to 205, you best believe I'd be watching.
I think they're going to integrate more to try and get people to watch 205
Because
live.
Ray would work wonders for it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Rey Mysterio coming in for the 205. Although I mean, you
got to have Ray on Raw or SmackDown.
But at the same time, I don't want Ricochet going up to 205.
Well,
yeah, but if
I
you
agree.
notice,
But
Drew Gulak showed up on Raw to jump the Shield. Leo Rush is on Monday Night Raw. They're trying to work those guys into the Raw program to get you to watch 205 live. So maybe that'll work. Maybe. But I agree. I think they need a name who can, like if a John Morrison or a Rey Mysterio won the 205 live belt and they brought it back to Monday Night Raw or SmackDown.
I think the problem is that they took the Cruiserweight segments off of Raw.
Yeah,
so then you have no idea what's going on with 205 if you don't watch it. At least with Raw, they would
there's some
have a little story.
Right, you get like a little recap, and then you get the match, and then some stuff would happen after the match.
Apparently they're filming 205 live before. Like they're filming it right now.
They changed it. Yeah. Which was good because they used to film it after the dark match for SmackDown.
Yeah, that was a dumb idea.
Yeah.
Everybody's leaving and they're tarped off and shit.
And it used to be when you went to a SmackDown show, if you went to Raw, they taped Sunday Night Heat an hour before Raw. If you went to SmackDown, they taped Velocity an hour before SmackDown. So I understand trying to change things up, but if you have a formula that was already working for you, you did it 10 years ago, 15 years ago. You just keep doing the same process. Nobody's sticking. The reason people are there for Raw or for SmackDown, they're not there to see 205 Live or NXT or whatever's happening when the cameras are off. If you put them before the show, it's a nice little lead-in that gets people excited for the show. Afterward, you're like, oh, I just watched 2 hours of wrestling. Do we need another 2 hours? It's like going to Olive Garden. You get the unlimited pasta, and you eat all the unlimited pasta, and they come over with dessert. And you're like, oh, I'm just going to take this one to go, guys.
I thought might be a good idea to have it as a lead-in for NXT. Like have it as the first hour and then do NXT.
Might work a little bit better than an hour.
Because then if you're already if you're one that already tunes into NXT, then you might give 205 a chance if it's right before it.
Yeah,
that's true.
Definitely.
Instead of right after SmackDown. Especially being in the crowd to watch it after SmackDown.
So we out of all the matches on Sunday night at the pay-per-view.
Okay, wait. We didn't talk about Becky and Charlotte.
Right. I was going to say we didn't even talk about them yet, which
that was a great match.
I didn't think they were going to do it right there.
One, I thought it was in a cage in the cell.
I did too.
No, I mean they never.
I thought it was very rushed and very short.
It was.
Yeah, but they caught I like that Becky caught Charlotte with something. Like it wasn't some big drawn out finisher kick out segment like they've been doing now. This was, Charlotte went for a spear. Becky knew enough to counter the spear and roll through and end the match. The only thing that I fear is that they still don't understand that Becky is getting cheered. Like, I don't know how they don't get this. Becky is getting cheered, Charlotte's getting booed, and they're still trying to spin it as if Charlotte is the one that's being wronged and screwed over here.
And Becky's trying hard as hell, but
she really is. But it's trying to turn Sami Zayn heel, and I mean that eventually worked. But Sammy's just
Sammy's great. Though.
He's too goofy.
Right.
He's too nice. Just.
But there's a way to be goofy and be a heel, and he's doing a great job doing it.
Sarcastic dancing. That's what I said.
100%.
It's too bad he's not around right now because they brought back the mixed match challenge, and they could have had Becky, if they really wanted to go with Becky being a heel, her and Sammy again in the mixed match challenge. Only this time, instead of him trying to make her a bad guy, she's already there.
Yeah,
and they can do more bad stuff. But I wish. I don't know. I'm not. Go ahead, Eric.
My only worry is that since it happened last on at Hell in a Cell, I'm a little worried that they're going to go the Charlotte Sasha hot potato route and have Charlotte win it back in Australia and then lose it back to Becky in at Evolution. That's what I'm worried about.
I think it might go the other way. I think Becky wins in Australia and loses at Evolution because that's Australia is the bigger show money wise, but Evolution is the big women's first ever whatever show.
I had actually pictured Becky not winning until Evolution.
I didn't think Becky was going to win last night because.
Nor did I.
Yeah, it was.
Believe me, it was a pleasant surprise. I was glad to lose that point.
I picked her.
Yeah, I think I went with Charlotte. I mean, I just couldn't. I couldn't see a situation where.
By the way,
Becky
with the
took
points, poor Kat, she let Autumn do the thing, and she didn't click on the DQ stuff.
Any of the DQ.
Right.
All those matches.
So Autumn's got to read the instructions now. I hope she doesn't skip
all the questions.
They're multiple choice. Like I hope at school she doesn't skip lines like that. She'll walk away with.
Oh yeah, that'll kill you.
You only answered a third of the questions. What are you doing?
I mean, the DQ was a separate question. And,
who won that anyway? Who won? Who was it that won? Ryan, was that you?
I think it was me. Give
rigged.
me 1 second to pull it up again.
I was thinking that too.
That's what she said.
Very suspect.
The fix is in.
The fix is in.
First time I won this year.
The guy who put together
but like the main event though, it's like when that was the first time ever that a Hell in a Cell match ended. Well, I mean, beyond that other.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's on pay-per-view.
Like yeah, on pay-per-view. It's like so.
Even
different.
WrestleRumble made.
You know what though? Props to the Raw tag title match at the pay-per-view also was really good.
Oh yeah, and the
tag match was great.
The Raw one was great. The pre-show one, New Day, Rusev Day was good.
Yeah.
And I just want to throw in case anyone hasn't noticed it in the trailer for the new WWE game, but it appears that the New Day's entrance, they will be launching pancakes into the crowd.
That's awesome.
Did you see they have a zombie mode?
Yes, and they have a big head mode.
Big head.
I don't understand the big head mode.
I don't either. I think it's stupid.
Old school wrestling.
It's like GoldenEye. Remember GoldenEye? Yeah.
DK mode.
I don't know. They got to do something. The problem is they aren't changing the things that need to be changed, like how everybody walks at about a quarter of the speed of a human being.
Yeah.
It needs. I understand.
What is the pinning situation like? Is it still a little game?
Oh,
click it. Like I like the button smashing because then I was able to kick out.
It has been that like half circle thing, and you gotta
that shit. I lose every time.
I believe you can go into the settings and you can choose either or.
Oh, that's an interesting idea.
I'm pretty sure it's in the game now.
Oh, okay.
What other like?
I happen to like the new system, so I stick with that. But
they added a women's rumble, I think, right?
I believe so, and I don't know if this is true, but I think that they also added House of Horrors match in the game.
Yeah, and the House of Horrors, and I think they added Bray's house and House Hardy.
It's going to be very cool. This game's going to be sick.
I hope so, because I skipped last year's, and I played it a little bit from a friend that bought it, and I think I made the right decision. It was very similar to 2017.
That's the issue with making a new game every year.
That's why I don't buy Madden every year. I buy a Madden like every 3 years or so because it's too much of the same. And that's what 2K is doing. Like they're making it a sports simulation, like the NBA 2K games and all that. It's very much a true to life, as much as you can simulation. It really should be more arcade style, like WrestleFest for the arcade, a little faster. Honestly, and this is going to sound funny, one of my favorite wrestling games is the TNA Impact game.
Yeah.
I know there weren't a lot of wrestlers and there weren't a lot of options and customization, but the core of the game, the way the wrestling worked together and you like chained moves together and everybody moved fast, I liked that style. It was like the AKI engine from like WrestleMania 2000 and No Mercy 64.
It'd be amazing if they made a No Mercy and just updated the roster.
And they wouldn't have to do anything else. Sell it on the phone, make it a mobile app.
No, just you could make a smaller game on like the Xbox.
Yeah, on the live store. Yeah, it's small. It doesn't have to be right. It doesn't have to be a AAA perfectly polished release. Yeah, you do.
You can have probably the 64 engine running and just update everything with new faces.
Yeah, I wonder what the problem is. What does that N64 engine run on now? Is that code or that software? Or whatever, I'm too old to be. Right, they might have to build it
as.
Right, they might need to literally build that engine back from scratch. Yeah. I don't know, but yeah, I would like the game to play a little bit faster. So maybe this year my wish will come true. Everything else about it looks really good.
I'm very excited.
I can't be mad at anything, especially since I haven't played it. You know, I didn't play last year, so I am looking forward to this year's and hoping that it's good. GM mode would be nice.
I used to.
So did we get through everything from the pay-per-view?
I think so, and that pay-per-view would have been a 7 or 8 out of 10 without that last match. If you include that last match, it goes down to like
that last match was good. It was the finish.
Yeah, it was the finish. Yeah, but I would have even liked Braun and Roman. I understand the other guys were going to get involved, but
they took a nap for too long. I thought.
Exactly, they laid down. They took a nap. I didn't like it. That's what I didn't like about it. I like it when they wrestled, but then they just decided it was
it's like that Rumble. Remember that Rumble that
Roman was sleeping?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like he was chanting.
Here's the thing. Here's what annoyed me. You know, like they originally were going to have a stretcher, but then he walked out on his own power and then came back out. I'm like, no. If you were on your own power walking out, then you could have finished the match on your own power. Then
got to make Roman look strong.
Exactly.
But that doesn't make sense because you're trying to sell that he's vulnerable. So
right, yeah.
If you didn't want, then you don't do the spot at all where he gets too injured.
Hogan's got to pose.
Yep.
This is our new Hogan's got to pose. It really is. Oh, did you guys hear? I should see if I can find the clip. There was a stand-up comedian. They did a show before SummerSlam in New York.
Yeah.
And it was a wrestling / stand-up comedy show. So the stand-up comedians were all fans of wrestling. I think Ron Funches was there. There were a couple big name, pretty decent-sized name comedians there. And they told wrestling jokes to a wrestling crowd. One of the things they said was they had a suggestion to get Roman Reigns over. And tell me what you guys think about this. They said when Roman's music comes on, the crowd has to sing along with it a little bit. I'll explain. So the music goes dun dun dun, and then the crowd goes ooh ooh. So this guy had the whole crowd. He's like, all right, we're gonna try it together. And he went dun 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 dun, and everybody goes ooh ooh, and like they raised the roof.
Oh my god,
that's horrible.
It's better than dun it boo.
Actually, I kind of like the boos. I'm not gonna lie.
But you know what I mean? Like could you see like Burn It Down and all these, and then the woo at the beginning of the song, everybody going ooh ooh when Roman Reigns comes out. I think it might throw him off. Like I don't know what would Roman's face be as he came out and people were going ooh ooh. What would they?
He would start laughing.
He would have to. I would crack up. I might get into it. I might encourage it. Keep going.
There's one more thing from Hell in a Cell we did not talk about.
What's that?
The color red.
Oh yeah,
that's very good.
I didn't mind it actually. You guys didn't like it?
Yeah.
It was whatever.
I feel like if you were there, it would be a lot harder to see in the ring.
Yeah.
That's very possible.
And then I'd be pissed. I'd be like, give me my money back.
Yeah, like I was concerned that it was going to be harder to see than it actually was. And it was still a little distracting because it's new.
Did anybody read anything on Twitter from anyone that was there that complained visually they had trouble seeing?
I didn't see anything.
I didn't. I just saw people saying they did "this is bullshit" chants.
Well, yeah, after the show.
Well, that was due to the finish, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it was the whole show up until 5 minutes before it ended was really, and even then it wasn't even the fact that Brock Lesnar interfered. That was all fine and dandy. Brock coming back is not a negative to me. It was the no contest. It was.
Yeah, no, it was just the way the match finished, because I agree. I was very happy to see Brock back. See, remember, I always shit on Brock being the champion. Brock is no longer champion. So I'm totally cool now with whenever he comes back, because our champion's now going to be around. So,
regardless of who it is, whether it's
Right.
Strowman or Reigns. Yeah.
Right. So Brock coming back and fucking doing destruction, that was awesome. That was one of the highlights of the match for me. But to have it finish, like I said, with both of them taking each an F5 and just the ref calling the match off is absolutely ridiculous.
And they talked about the history of the Hell in a Cell. It was almost like they brought Mick out last minute to promote that network special that happened after the show, because he had
amazing, by the way.
Yeah, but he had nothing to do. Like, he didn't really do what a special guest referee does, aside from getting pepper sprayed right at the end. Like, he wasn't. I don't know. I just feel like they didn't have as much for him to do, or maybe he's, I mean, he's an older guy. Maybe he didn't want to take.
And he just had another surgery. I mean, so how much is he actually going to be able to do? Let's be honest.
Right.
I mean, we knew he wasn't going to do anything crazy.
But I thought maybe, even though he got pepper sprayed, because this could have been a good thing, the first ever Hell in a Cell match, was it Shawn Michaels Undertaker?
Yeah.
What happened at the end of that match? Fire, pyro, organs. That's gotta be Kane.
Rips the door off. But there was a definitive winner in that match.
That's what I'm saying. The first match set the precedent that, yes, you could interfere in a Hell in a Cell match, but there has to be a winner. That's what, but there has to be. And even if Roman won, I would be okay with it, because it was a screw job finish and it continued the story. This just made Roman and Reigns look like bitches. Like, oh, he hit me, I can't go up. Like, you get hit for a living.
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
And in contrast from the Orton Hardy match, where the ref was ready to get the EMTs out, and Orton was like, "Do your job."
See, and I think they did that to set the precedent for later in the show for the referee to stop a Hell in a Cell match. But Randy Orton was absolutely right. Do your job, make it count. Mick Foley should have got up with red eyes, just got pepper sprayed, crawled back to the ring, and made a 3 count, because he was the referee of that match. It wasn't John Cone or whoever else came out.
Right.
It was Mick Foley. He should have came back and said, no, this match has to have a winner. Ding, ding.
And I also would have liked to see Heyman take Sacco or something like that.
Yeah.
He maybe they didn't do it after the show. That would have been a nice way to send the live crowd home, so they weren't mad about the finish. Foley comes out, hits all his spots, Sacco, DDT, whatever.
I don't even think Foley's in a position to do a big spot. I really don't. He had trouble just even getting into the ring.
Yeah. That's why I'm glad they didn't kill him.
Yeah, could you imagine? I mean, they really, there was an absolute chance that Braun Strowman was going to lawn dart Mick Foley into a cage or into a table or something.
That's what I thought.
On the table. That was definitely on the table. And I'm kind of glad they didn't do it. As much of a sick fuck as I am and curious to see what they would do with something like that, leave the guy alone. He's done enough.
I agree.
But the show, overall, I mean, we're still talking about it over half an hour later. The show was good. Hell in a Cell was a good show. There was a little segment at the end that left a bad taste in your mouth. And again, I think the show was a 7 or 8 out of 10.
But you can't
take the point away for the fish.
Right, but and I'm reading so much shit on the internet. That ruined the whole pay-per-view. Get over it. There were matches that made the pay-per-view a great pay-per-view.
Right. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't take away from the fact that there were some amazing matches and good stories.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Samoa Joe, AJ Styles are telling the best story in the WWE right now.
Yeah, and I'm glad we're going back to that. I really did like the Phantom Tap thing.
Yeah.
Would it be interesting if in the next match that they have, each of them has a red challenge flag, like in the NFL?
Yeah.
And they do an instant, like if somebody has a complaint about a call, they throw the flag and they go to an instant replay and make a decision? Add something to, they're evolved. Every match is going to be a little bit different with these guys. Like with Shinsuke, it was like different stipulations and stuff. So, maybe you do like an instant replay match, or you do something different instead of just a singles match. Maybe it's going to be an ultimate submission match.
Slow the match to a grind, though.
Yeah, how about ultimate submission? We haven't had one of those in a while. Could those guys work an ultimate submission match, you think? That's like an Iron Man match, but it's whoever gets the most tap outs.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be cool.
That would be cool.
And credit to Samoa Joe for his work as a heel, especially in the last few months. My God, That night AJ thing.
Wendy.
That's on fucking Tommaso Ciampa levels.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what though? This is the Samoa Joe of TNA.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like this
The
is
ass kicker.
right. This is what we were used to. So I'm glad to see them allowing him to be Samoa Joe. I mean, this is
you
what
let
I
him
fell
be
in
Joe,
love with.
and it's gold.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. It's way better.
And AJ is like the perfect babyface to Joe's heel. You know,
which we've known for over 10 years. The WWE just figured this out.
Yep.
It's like, guys, we've had these matches before. They were really, really good. Maybe you just do some more of them. Bring in Christopher Daniels for
honestly,
a run.
like I had to argue that Joe and AJ have more chemistry than Shinsuke and AJ did in their match.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
AJ and Shinsuke had one really good match in Japan, and that's why everybody wanted to see the rematch, because
at Wrestle Kingdom,
right, in Japan they keep guys apart. They don't constantly wrestle each other. You have to earn a title.
It's like Taz Sabu in ECW. Heyman kept them apart for over a year.
And when it happened, it was magic. That was when AJ did the Bullet Club finger gun, and then Shinsuke made like he grabbed the bullet out of the air and chewed it up and spit it out. Like the whole thing was it was a great match and a great circumstance. It's not their fault. Like as much as you can say it's their fault for wrestling the way they wrestled, and if it wasn't up to your particular par of their quality of wrestling, but I also think it was something to do with the story. Shinsuke Nakamura, one of the best wrestlers in the world, is hitting people in the ding dong.
Yeah, and then the first match at WrestleMania, the problem with that was WrestleMania was so long and everybody was so tired by the time that match came about that it kind of took away from it a little bit.
They should have done the low blow at the beginning of the match.
Ooh.
And then actually had a babyface and a heel in the match.
Holy shit, could you imagine? Has that ever happened where someone turned heel before the match?
Like they're shaking hands or whatever, wham!
That'd be amazing. Holy shit.
Yeah! Something different, because you're right, I don't think it's done like that anymore. If anybody wants...
Like Becky would have came off as a heel if she turned on Charlotte before the match.
Yeah, like
back at SummerSlam, you know?
Right, or
they hit her with the belt before the bell ring.
And even at the end of this match on Sunday, Charlotte tried to raise her hand, and Becky said, "You aren't going to steal my moment," and that's still not really a heel thing, because Becky's argument is that
she wants her moment to celebrate with the championship.
Right, Becky's argument has always been that Charlotte's tried to squeeze in on her TV time.
Becky, the only way you're going to really get Becky Lynch over as a heel at this point is that she has to attack another face.
I was just going to say,
face.
They have to separate those two for just a little while and then bring them back together.
Right.
Who's someone that could be that baby face that she could turn on to get the heel?
Naomi.
Remote.
That would do it.
Turning on someone like Bayley would do it, probably.
Yeah.
Bayley, Asuka. Asuka's still on SmackDown, right?
The problem with doing it on Asuka, though, is that Asuka is so bad.
Yeah, but Asuka's also just had every bad booking thing happen to her since she made it to the main roster. She's no longer... I mean, she came in with an undefeated streak. She lost to Charlotte, and then she lost to Carmella. Choke me.
Nice.
And then, yeah, and so she's almost like a non-threat now, unfortunately.
Yeah. But, like, real quick, back to the AJ Joe match. Like, the people that were complaining... Some of the people that were complaining about how, you know... And I'm talking in, like, a kayfabe perspective about how Joe got screwed because Joe, like, made AJ tap out. But here's the thing. The ref was already in the middle of the count. What is the referee supposed to do? Stop the count? He's already counted.
Well, no, but if
the idea was he was out of position.
He was right.
He saw the shoulders, but he couldn't see the tap.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, Samoa Joe got screwed. I mean, if you really, at the end of the day, Samoa Joe should be champion because the tap happened right before the 3 count. So yeah, it should have stopped the count. The ref was out of position. It's a perfect ending.
But that's the thing. That's what's so perfect about that ending. Yeah.
You know, like to me, that was as perfect as when Bret Hart and Lex Luger both hit the ground at the same exact time.
And they casually
Royal
did that
Rumble.
camera angles.
And, right. And it was exactly the same. And it was like, okay, that was legit. You know, it's that kind of thing for me. I thought it was well done.
Yeah, people seem to not like it. Maybe we can discuss this a little bit before we see if I don't know if Kat sent in the user question, Cat's in the mailbag or whatever it is. But with AJ, he's had a lot of since he won the title, almost a year ago.
Yeah,
he's had his title for a while. A lot of the matches have had screwy finishes.
Yeah.
And like no contests or double DQs or double countouts or ending via dick punch. Just various. So, and on the perception online is like, oh, AJ he's not winning clean. He's got a bunch of screwy finishes. Like, is it a lack of faith in a guy like AJ Styles? I really don't know what it is. I don't think it has anything to do with AJ Styles. I think it has more to do with the creative team doesn't know what the fuck they're doing.
I think it's being brilliantly done, to be honest with you. They're doing it the exact way you should to make a story continue without either one looking lesser than the other.
With Samoa Joe and AJ, yes. With Shinsuke and AJ,
that was a disgrace.
Just like, get this over with.
No, they absolutely ruined that. I agree 100%. Yeah. I'm talking solely AJ Styles and Samoa Joe. This is how it's done. You know, and I get it. People don't like it that we haven't had definitive finishes for their matches lately, but it's just so good because it's the way it's being presented. You know, those two know what they're doing, and they're making it look great, and that's really all there is to it. The writers can write all day long. It's up to the wrestlers to make a solid delivery, and those two, you know, they have their chemistry. They've been wrestling each other for forever.
Oh yeah.
You know? I mean, I always used to say some of their best matches were AJ Samoa Joe and TNA. So, you know, this is just a bigger stage. And you know, listen, the payoff is gonna be big because I gotta believe Samoa Joe at the end of the day is gonna become champion.
Well, somebody was saying online, and I didn't know, I would have to go back and notice this. Someone was with a real keen eye said Samoa Joe attempted in their first championship match, Samoa Joe tried to hook in the Muscle Buster, and AJ got out of it. This time, he actually got him up, but couldn't hit the Muscle Buster. They're thinking that for the first time in however long since he injured Tyson Kidd with it, Joe's going to win with the Muscle Buster.
Dude, that's like when AJ first came in, and everybody was waiting for that Styles Clash. Oh. You know what I mean? So I listen. I'm all for it.
That would be a nice moment. You know, a surprise kind of. He has
do you
to
think
pull
they'll
out
do it
this
in
move.
Australia?
Ooh.
What?
Would they do it in Australia?
The title change in Australia, because that's the next time the men are going to be, you know, because like it's after Evolution, or it's before Evolution.
It's possible.
Didn't Joe win the NXT title overseas?
Did he beat? What did he beat? Finn? Or did
I thought it was Finn
Shinsuke?
at the.
He beat Finn in like a cage match or something.
No, that was the in between.
That was in between. Okay. Yeah, because Joe
was at a house show, that cage.
But AJ beat Jinder in the UK.
Yeah. Yep. They had that UK show. So there's a precedent for them doing an international title change, especially this year with their focus on the international expansion. I could totally see that happening in Australia or Saudi Arabia or whatever, because those events are pulling in more money for them than a regular pay-per-view. That Saudi Arabia show is pulling in like 3 WrestleManias worth of money for them. Same thing with Australia.
Do you think they need to add a stipulation now for the Joe AJ matches?
I think so.
Yeah, I think I would like to see submission next, or because the pinfall tap out thing was so controversial, it might have to be like a single type of.
I like that ultimate submission idea, honestly.
Yeah, because I mean those guys could wrestle. Best 2. Oh yeah. Oh, how about 3? I mean, we just did Hell in a Cell. 3 stages of hell.
That too.
And you don't have to do a Hell in a Cell, but you could do you could do.
Wasn't it a cage match?
Yeah, it was. You know, it was just a cage match rather than a Hell in a Cell, I think. But you could do.
How about three stages of heck, because AJ is a good Christian boy.
There you go. But it would be like what the first pinfall would be regular, the second one would be
The
submission or no DQ or hardcore, and then the last one's in a cage.
Yep.
Yeah, something
I remember
new.
with that Triple H and Austin back in the day.
Now, how about this one? These guys were known in TNA. Well, TNA was kind of known for this anyway.
Yeah.
Ladder match.
Ooh.
Yeah.
J. Joe ladder match.
I mean, they're not going to do Ultimate X, so.
How happy would it be though if they could though?
If they could do the Ultimate X and put the WWE title on the cables across the ring. Oh shit.
Well, Jeff Hardy was kind of doing like almost doing like a Ultimate X thing with what he did with his gymnastics routine.
He took that horrific bump.
The problem is Orton moved out of the way before Jeff
too early.
Well, yeah, but he didn't know. I don't know if he knew how many times Jeff was going to swing until he knew he had the momentum.
But that was a cool moment because like he knew he didn't have enough room with the roof to leapfrog, and then so he tried something different.
Yeah,
I like that match. That was a good match. Nice way to get people excited.
I will have nightmares from that screwdriver forever.
Oh, God, forever.
I was so waiting for it to pop because I'm like, here's the thing. If you get like people who get bored of having their ears gauged like that, they just go to like a plastic surgeon and get the ends snipped off and sewn. They basically sew back. They take off the long skin and they just sew up the parts and kind of make you a new earlobe. So I figured maybe Jeff was like, you know what? I'm done stretching my ears out, whatever. Sure, let's go out and rip my fucking ear hole in half.
In general, when I see people with gauges like that, that's all I think about. I'm like, what happens if something, goes wrong?
You just really got to cut it off. And so, like, I know people who had gauges and then they wanted to get like an office job, so they took them out and they got them snipped, and that's gross to think about anyway.
That is painful to think about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they give you anesthesia, but still, they're cutting through. It's not like it's a little thing.
But you were thinking that Jeff was
thick.
crazy enough to let it happen?
100%. I thought Jeff was crazy enough to say, you know what, tear it off, and I'll just go. They'll cut it off backstage and sew me up.
God, can you imagine the visual? Oh my God!
I think they would have done it 10 years ago.
Oh yeah, the blood would.
Oh, it would have spurted like a bloody pimple. Just.
Is there that much blood in that cartilage like that though?
It's not like the earlobe really isn't cartilage. It's just skin with no muscle or bone underneath.
Cartilage is really more like your upper ear.
Right. It's once you get into the tragus and the antitragus and all that stuff. Yeah, but it would just be flesh and blood really. And it's not like he could die from it, so I could see him going, let's try it.
I'm not saying like death or anything. It just
right, but you could get an infection. I mean, any number of things could happen in that kind of situation where it could go wrong.
Okay, Steve, how about in 2K20 they put that thing in that?
There's going to be a new mini game, in-match mini game. When you grab the screwdriver, you use
that would become my new finishing move.
I mean, you have to tap out, right?
Yeah.
If somebody stuck a screwdriver in your ear hole and twisted it, you'd tap out.
I mean, see that's why I like Pentagon in Lucha, because like he'd always break someone's arm as the finisher. I love that.
And then they'd stop the match. It wasn't like they tapped out. It was like, no, this person is unfit to continue because their arm was broken.
Kind of fucked up, Eric.
I know.
I love it when you break his arm.
They're not really breaking anybody's arm. You know, it's if he was really breaking somebody's arm, I might have an issue with it. Although, I mean, the right person. I mean, who cares?
Well, Sexy Star did that to Rosemary. She tried to.
Yeah.
And where has Sexy Star been since then?
Exactly. Yeah.
Done.
I mean, listen. If we're talking about Sarah from Nebraska, listen.
Well.
Oh man, Sarah needs to stay away from screwdrivers and Pentagon.
Taker's promo. What a fucking promo.
That was a good promo. I mean, listen, it's Undertaker.
Yeah.
You expect it to be a good promo, just like you expect Paul Heyman to be a good promo.
Oh, for
sure. Listen, it's always great to see Taker back. He looks great.
I agree.
I don't know what to think of his match with Triple H, nor do I
the pop that he got when he said Kane's going to be in his corner. Oh shit!
crazy.
Senator's going to be there. This is going to make news.
This is the one in Australia, right? Because
Jacobs.
It would be a bad look for a sitting governor of a United State or whatever he is, a mayor, to be in Saudi Arabia. I feel like that would be a bad look. But he could do Australia, no problem. Australia, they're nice down there. Saudi Arabia is a different story.
What if we did the Brothers of Destruction versus DX at Survivor Series?
I mean, I thought they would have done that years ago.
And there it is. Brothers of Destruction versus DX at Survivor Series. And you throw in Billy Gunn and X-Pac and whoever else can still work. And you give Undertaker... You can't bring back Viscera. Maybe you can bring back Mideon. No.
The Hardys would have been great with them in a triple threat, but that's not.
You can't bring back Mideon because he won't be able to be naked Mideon, and then it'll just be stupid.
Well, naked Mideon wasn't even really naked anyway, right? He was like he wore a fanny pack over his junk.
Naked Mideon.
Well, yeah, but dude, I mean, how much of a fanny pack going to cover your ass and your junk? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm surprised because I was just thinking how if Mideon or the Ministry came back, how they would be hesitant to do something like that because it's like anti-religious and kind of like one of those things that groups could complain about.
There's too many social justice warriors these days.
Right, but then I'm also, on the other hand, Aleister Black is a fucking like pagan wizard guy. And
then he rises up like a vampire in his entrance. That's fucking awesome.
And so I mean, and he's got everything's in runes, and everything's kind of like candles and spells, and the Black Mass is the name of his kick. So like that's like an Anton LaVey, Satan-y, pagan-y kind of. And I know, okay, please don't comment. I understand the difference between the modern Church of Satan invented by Anton LaVey and traditional Celtic or Norse paganism. Please don't get into that with me. I already know. But I'm just saying he's kind of melding all those together, and that's kind of acceptable. But like the Brood, I don't think the Brood would be. It would just be a
drop in blood. Too.
The bloodbaths. And I said the Brood. I meant the Ministry. But the Brood counts too.
Yeah.
We don't have any questions because Kat's not here. That's unfortunate. But
it's 2 weeks now, so they'll all carry over.
Oh, we'll have to do a mailbag episode next week. I mean, it would have been tough to squeeze in the mailbag anyway this week because so much happened with Hell in a Cell and then the follow-up on Raw. We had to get through a lot of stuff today, so we'll definitely read the mailbag. AskTheWarReport@gmail.com or on social media. You tag me a date and use the hashtag AskTheWarReport. When you ask a question to us at AskTheWarReport@gmail.com or hashtag AskTheWarReport, you will be entered into a pay-per-view pick 'em contest. You may be one lucky winner every month. You may be that lucky winner who gets a WrestleRumble.com pay-per-view pick 'em. WrestleRumble.com is a competitive paid pay-per-view pick 'em contest where you pay for an entry in exchange for potentially winning some fantabulous prizes.
Some awesome prizes, title belts. I mean, all types of crazy shit. It's awesome. In fact, Amanda, do we know yet what the next pick'em is going to be for which show?
We're doing a small one for Superstar Showdown.
Nice.
There you go. Boom. Superstar Showdown.
First prize is the NWA Championship belt.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Wow.
Oh, you're kidding me. I want that. Yeah.
I'm in.
Definitely. Holy shit.
And then second prize is the whole Bullet Club Funko pack. So you'll get Cody Rhodes, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks.
And that's a good value,
Plus, there's a bunch of MVP points up so that at the end of the year, you can win your very own custom belt.
So from,
that's bananas.
Belts by Dan, is that who does it?
Yes.
Yeah, those guys are great. Hi, Belts by Dan. Make us a Tag Me a Date belt.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I always thought we should have a Tag Me a Date. You know, it's unfortunate James Ellsworth had his own intergender championship belt made.
I wonder how much he would charge us for one.
Yeah. Because I would think it would be cool if we had like an intergender wrestling champion or like a, some kind of belt like DDT. You know, DDT Pro Wrestling in Japan has the heavy metal weight, whatever, 24/7 championship.
Yeah.
And like I know Kevin Quinn won it one time. Joey Ryan won it by showing Kevin Quinn his dick. Like, it's all different kinds of like weird shit like that. But you could have like a Tag Me a Date belt that just travels around. Somebody won it over here. Somebody won it over there. Put up an Instagram video of somebody getting rolled up in the locker room.
Yeah.
So yeah,
what if you created two and had it intergender, kind of like what they're doing on Facebook?
We're gonna have to look into this.
Yeah, we'll definitely look into it. That would be cool. Because even like a 3-pit, I've looked into this before. I really want a real, the big gold belt, but that's like a $2,900 investment.
Yeah.
But if you get like a 3-plate belt, smaller plates, thinner like instead of getting 6 millimeter, you get like 4 millimeter or 5. You can get a thinner plate and you can get smaller plates and a smaller leather belt. Because it doesn't have to be like big gold size, and that'll help cut the cost down too. So I'm sure if you go to Belts by Dan, it's got some kind of pricing scheme. Or Wildcat Belts is another one that's pretty good. But Belts by Dan is your sponsor, so I'm gonna say go to Belts by Dan. Fuck Wildcat. And if Wildcat sponsors our show, then fuck Dan. So that's how that works. Highest bidder.
I'm sorry.
Right. Any
right.
Any other updates or any news or anything we need to go over before we close out today?
Yeah, just the apps. We're just about there. I should have the final version for testing tomorrow, and
wow.
If all that goes well, it's just a matter of time for the big announcement. So stay tuned, and the apps for Apple and Android are coming.
Great. That is awesome. And of course, if you I'm gonna have to find that clip and send it to you guys too.
Yes,
in the messenger. Maybe we can share it to the Facebook page or share it on Twitter too. But if there's no other updates, I guess we'll do our big close. We do this show every Tuesday, 7 p.m. on Eastern time. In a few months we're gonna change. We're not changing. The daylight savings time is changing, so we roll with those punches. If you're an international listener, this affects you. If you're domestic here in the U.S., it doesn't really affect you because we're all going to be on the same schedule once the clocks roll back. 7 p.m. Eastern time, so adjust your clocks as necessary. And follow us on social media at Tag Me a Date, no spaces. So that's Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. And YouTube as well. You go to youtube.com. In the search bar, you type in Tag Me a Date, all one word, Tag Me a Date, remove the spaces. You'll see the Tag Me a Date channel where you can like videos, subscribe, and, of course, hit the bell to get notifications when we upload a new video or go live. So if you do all that, if you follow us on all the social media and you follow the subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit the bell, you might as well also sign up for a TagMeADate.com account. It is absolutely free. There's no obligation to pay for anything, at least at the time being. This is currently 100% free for the user. You can register for free, message for free, post updates to your wall, whatever you want to do on Tag Me a Date. You upload a profile picture, you upload a promo video, you answer questions about how big of a wrestling fan you are, and then you can go through the search and find someone in your area, your tag team match, so to speak. So it's all free at tagmeadate.com. And we will do this thing next Tuesday, 7 p.m. on Eastern time. One more time. We will see you next week. Thanks for watching.